Hello, I want to welcome you to the parent meeting for this upcoming season. And I guess normally we have an in-person meeting, but today we're going to send you this video. We're finding it more effective and more convenient for parents. So in this video, hopefully we can share most of what we do and how we do and how we run our program. First thing we're going to talk about is the Maine Lightning mission. Our mission is to take now, this year, with the addition of our new Sparks program, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, teach them the game of baseball, provide a great, fun learning experience, and then hand them off to a college coach after their senior year in high school. That's our mission, to grab a hold of these players, have them lock in and become part of the Lightning family for years and years and years. And we're now seeing that turnover with our college placement that's been incredibly successful. So we want to provide a positive learning experience. We want to provide top-notch quality instruction at both the individual and team levels. And just to ensure that that's happening, we've changed our winter training program over the last several years, where it includes team workouts. It also includes several individual primary and secondary training for their positions, specific positions. In addition to that, we also want to be great communicators with our parents. We have an open door policy. If there's any issues, concerns, or questions, we'd like you to reach out to us and we'll get back to you promptly. The communication will be done through league apps. Game communications will be done through Game Changer. In general, communication will be email. Most emails that we send out will also include a text that you may get a text that says, read your email or important email from Maine Lightning Baseball. Mike Ames is I would call him our technical guy, handles a lot of our software administrative, I guess you'd call it department. Mike's a valuable asset to Ryan and I. So if you get an email from Mike Ames or you have a problem with logging in or any of our software, reach out to Mike Ames and we'll provide his contacts as well. Winter training. Winter training is upon us. It's going to start very shortly. You'll receive information on the start date and the rotating schedules. Each team will practice every week. They will also have some midweek practices where they'll come in and get some hitting work in, and whatever the coach deems necessary for that week. When we do start, we're going to ask our players to arrive 15 minutes before the start of the practice. We're going to ask our players to label all their personal equipment, bats, t-shirts, get a black marker, permanent marker, put initials, whatever they need to do. We have so many items that are lost and found throughout the winter, and we have no way of getting those items back to individuals. So please label everything, bats, gloves, hats, etc. We would like all our players to wear their practice shirts that we will issue, or a Maine Lightning branded attire. Last year's shirt is fine, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, anything except a white t-shirt. Sometimes the baseballs can get caught in the white and you lose sight of it briefly, and it'll hopefully reduce injuries. Catchers need the gear at every practice, along with their athletic supporters, their cups, and that's a must. So any catchers that do not have cups, they're not catching in live activity. They need it every workout. Through those workouts, we'll cover team aspects of the game, situational play, bunt coverages, pickoffs, first and thirds, cutoffs, etc. We'll also provide the individual development and instruction for primary and secondary positions. Most players will choose primary, secondary position based on what they like right now. If your son is a pitcher, obviously we recommend pitching as a primary or secondary. It gets tricky when players 1 week with, let's call their position play, maybe it's an infielder. 1 week they go to infield, 3 weeks later they go to outfield, 3 weeks later they go to catching. The problem with that is they're going to miss the instruction for the infield play. So all of our position instruction specific workouts will progress appropriately. So we would like our players to choose 2 positions, stay with them, a primary and secondary. However, if there's a week where we do have a player that wants to go to outfield, that's fine too. What else? Attendance. Attendance is important. It's optional, but it's highly recommended. The more touches your son has with a baseball, glove, bat on the ball, the more they'll improve their skill sets. So missing, it doesn't help progression. However, we do understand there are many families that ski, that play basketball, hockey, etc. Be a family, have your family time. We get it if you miss a week or a couple workouts. If you do need to miss a workout, please just let your coach know that you won't be attending that Sunday or midweek practice. All practices start in the edge and transition into the dome. So when they come in, they'll come into the edge, they'll hit first in the cages, and that runs roughly about 45 minutes in that range, and then they'll head over to the dome and they'll do their defensive work over there. All players need protective gear at every practice inside the edge. And what I mean by protective gear, catchers, when they're catching bullpens, they need their mask on. Hitters, when they're in the cage hitting, they need their helmet on, or feeding. If players are feeding with front toss, the feeder and hitter need helmets on their heads at all time. If they do not have a helmet with them, we have some here that we can provide and they can borrow, but please make sure they're bringing their helmets and their catcher's masks to every workout. The mainlining expectations are to make mainlining baseball your son's top priority. It's not town baseball, it's not Little League. That is secondary to Lightning. We can't have players missing our games to go to a league championship game for Little League, for a Little League play. We have too much of a commitment financially and physically from our parents, and if this is a problem for you, we recommend that you alert us right away and we remove you from the roster. If there's a big game in your town and your coach says, hey, I could really use Johnny this weekend to pitch, we have no problem with you asking your coach, and if your coach says, hey, you can go to that Little League game on Saturday, but try to get to our game too, we can live with that. But missing games to be at a Little League game because maybe at the Little League level your son has a greater responsibility for his team. He may be one of the top players, he may play more, all of those factors, so you deem that game more valuable to your son. The problem is you committed to the Lightning program, and we need bodies, we need to have a full roster at our games. So I want to be really, really clear, mainlining is your top priority. For families that break that policy, you run the risk of your son being removed from the roster. And what would cause that? I've received messages in the past, Johnny's not going to be at the game today, we have a family outing, and then I find out Johnny played in a Little League game that weekend. That's when I'll go in and I'll notify the family that, or most likely they'll receive a phone call, but we're removing that player from the roster. That puts us in a really, really hard situation, and it's not fair to any of us involved with the Lightning program. Okay, so if you have any questions with that, please give me a call or email me separately, and we can chat more. Behavior and sportsmanship in the Lightning program from our players. We expect them not to argue with umpires. We expect them to not argue with coaches. We don't expect even our younger players to ask coaches when they're going in, can I play shortstop? Can I play right field? Those are conversations that need to happen in practice or after a game, or possibly even before a game. But during games, coaches are managing their players, they're managing lineups, they're managing substitutions, they're trying to win games, call bunts, call steals. There's a lot going on, and that's not the time to discuss that. Game prep. We need players to arrive on time in proper attire when arriving to the field and having all uniforms. They need all uniforms with them, because if we show up in blue and our opponents are in blue, it's not going to work. We'll shift our uniform, we'll wear our light colored uniform, and then the game will resume that way. So be sure to have all uniforms and hats at every game. Between games, do not leave the field. Do not leave the facility. It's rare, but oftentimes families that leave, maybe a food order, it's taken longer than you expected. The player runs across the field late, we're already taking the field, or if it's a pitcher, catcher, that's really going to make things tough. So stay at the field. Parents, please have lunches, food ready for your player in between games. That's just going to be a lot easier for everyone. And parent behavior at games towards opponents, umpires, and our Lightning coaches. Please set examples for all. Be positive. If the umpire's not strong or calling a good game, we get it. Believe me, we get it. But sometimes not saying anything is better than negative comments. We can't control the opponent's coaches. They're not always pleasant. They're not always positive, but that's just not in our box. We can report a coach to a league. We've done that before, but we can't control them and their behavior. So what we do is we don't interact with them. We don't talk to them. We don't say anything. We don't allow our players or parents to talk to opponent players or to the opponents or their coaches. Okay? Try to remain positive. If you have an issue with your own coach, that happens via email 24 hours after the game. No-nos for us in the Lightning program: never approach a coach in between games on the field or on the field at all, before a game, between games, or after a game. If you have a complaint or you want to talk about playing time, which 95% of the complaints are playing time driven or position play, again, 24 hours after the game is over. And send an email. Coach, I'd like to chat with you. I know some coaches will prefer email. Myself, I prefer face-to-face and have a conversation like adults and see if we can work things out. In season, Maine Lightning players in season are expected to commit to the Lightning program first and foremost. We talked about that earlier. Playing time pretty much is the majority of any complaints that we have from parents. Playing time is not equal in the Lightning program. Our policy is players will play 50% of the innings played, with the exception of 10-run rules. When we get 10-runned or we 10-run another team, we can't control those total innings. That will be considered a complete game, however. So coaches could either play a player game one and sit them game two, and they meet the policy of 50% play time. They can also split games: 3 innings one game, 3 innings a second game, 12 and under, or 3 and 4. We do talk about playing time with our coaches. We do cover coaches and their own children, because we have a lot of coaches that are dads in this program. We cover the daddy ball idea and concept. We cover it in detail, and our coaches are well aware that their children's playtime is under a microscope. So we'll keep an eye on that as well, but it is talked about, it is understood, and it isn't piece that we pay attention to. We have had situations where players during league play or town baseball. So when I say league play, for like Little League, so we're obviously a travel baseball program. When Little League games take place on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Thursday, our Lightning games are all on the weekends, doubleheaders on the weekends. If your son pitches on Thursday for your Little League team, he cannot pitch for us Saturday or Sunday. And if your son is a pitcher in our program and that coach says you'll be pitching every weekend or you'll be pitching this Sunday, and all of a sudden he shows up and he's not eligible, that's not good. And that again is not making Maine Lightning a top priority. So please pay attention to that. That cannot happen at all. Our league, well, sportsmanship, before I get into league play, sportsmanship is a must. We ask our players not to talk to umpires. We talk about body language quite a bit. We do understand that some can control their emotions much better than others. We'll try to help them with that. We'll remind them, and we'll guide them through it. Baseball's a tough game. You fail a lot, more so than probably any other game out there. So learning to deal with failure is a big piece of baseball in this program, and we expect all our players to show good sportsmanship all the time. League play. The Lightning program will have league play, which will consist of divisional games and non-divisional games. Divisional games count toward the playoffs in your ranking where you stand in the league. Non-divisional games will result in just extras, innings, games played, those reps, those valuable needed repetitions. So they'll consist of that, and then we also add a tournament in. Tournaments, all players are expected to go. If you cannot go, alert your coach. Maine Lightning provides one tournament per team. If your team chooses to go to 2, 3, 4, the second, third, and fourth will be paid for by parents. It is not budgeted through the Lightning program. Again, Maine Lightning will pay for one tournament per team. Statistics. We've had issues in the years past with parents calling, Johnny got 2 hits in the game, he was only credited for 1. The scorekeeper, didn't give him a hit. How do we handle that? I would say email your coach, and your coach can go back and look at that, but I wouldn't worry about statistics too much. At the high school level with our showcase teams, and Ryan can talk more about this, I don't ever remember a college coach coming to me and saying, what's Johnny's batting average? They're not looking at batting averages. They're looking at measurables. How fast does this player run? How hard does this player throw? How hard does the ball come off this player's bat, etc. Stats can often be misleading, so don't get caught up in that. I want to talk about parent volunteers. Parents make our program and the experience that much better when they get involved. We love to have parents involved. Most of the time, there's a parent stat keeper for Game Changer. There's a bookkeeper that could be a parent. It depends on the specific coach, but parent involvement is crucial to the Maine Lightning program. So the volunteer help that we need is, as I said, Game Changer, statistics, a parent leader, somebody who may provide food in between games, laundry during tournaments in the hotel, the physical address of the opponents, so the itinerary for a trip. Could be team gatherings, they organize team gatherings. Could be just the communication link between the coach and the team. So the parent leader is a position that we take very seriously as far as the coaches working with the parent group. It makes a huge difference in the experience for the year. A grounds crew. Each team, a parent grounds crew would be fantastic. I know last year we had several teams with moms and dads, brothers, cousins, anybody who's willing to go out with a rake and help in between innings. The city of Portland, where we use fields as well as other surrounding towns, they'll prep the field for game 1, they'll line it, but game 2 they do not prep. They don't come back and prep the field. So in between games it's helpful. Every now and then, if we get rain or there's a team on a field, they jumped on that field the night before and tore it up a little, sometimes we need a parent group to come in, or our grounds crew, our volunteer grounds crew, to come in and clean up the field. Again, please do not volunteer for any of these if it's something you don't think you want to do. You don't have to, but it makes a big difference. So keeping that in mind, if there's any problems, questions, issues with in-season play, send us an email and we'll get back to you immediately, and we'll see if we can figure it out.
Hi guys, the last couple pieces that we need to touch on here are the uniforms and apparel. We contract through New Balance. New Balance is going to be the provider of our uniforms, as well as our online apparel store, which a lot of you are familiar with. We do a Christmas store that'll be opening up relatively soon. All that stuff is going to be New Balance products, New Era, Pennant, All-Star, kind of every big brand that we can get our hands on for you guys. We do have our mandatory package, which includes 2 jerseys, pair of pants, belts, socks, an outerwear piece, hat, practice shirt, our standard package that we've always offered. And then we are going to have our alternate uniform package. This year will just be a jersey and a hat. We'll probably include some sort of special edition, whether it's a t-shirt or sweatshirt or whatnot, but a special edition piece that will go on to make that package a little bit more pronounced with what we're trying to do. The alternate is optional. We started doing that 6 or 7 years ago, and it's become almost part of the program at this point. With last year, we did the black 207 jerseys and pants, and as well as our hats. But this year we'll change it up again. These are optional, like I said. The teams have the right to vote on them. You can do just the hats. You can do the full package. You don't have to do any of it at all. These are pieces that we do one-offs every year, and most of the time the kids really like it. They think it's a cool thing. I think last year we had 15 or 16 of our 24 teams actually participate in the optional or alternate uniform package. So you'll see that stuff coming out in the stores that we unveil and email to you guys in the coming weeks and months. But just remember, you're going to have your standard package, which is mandatory for the Lightning program, and then you'll have optional alternate package, as well as other fan gear, t-shirts, hats, sweatpants, shorts, fold-up chairs, Yeti mugs, things like that we feel like we can brand for you guys for Christmas gifts and whatnot. Our fundraiser this is going to be the second year we've done the fundraiser. We are going to go with a different company this year. We are going to include more prizes for the overall. We're going to include top selling prize or top overall sales, which will be a free tuition and or cash or check written directly to the person. We'll have team prizes for the top 3 teams, top 3 selling teams, and then you have your individual levels of achievement that you're going to go through. You know, if you sell up to 25, you get a personalized hoodie and cash or whatever. We're going to give out those details as we finalize this fundraiser. It's going to start at the beginning of the season. We'll probably run it through the entire first month, which being in November, with the drawing on December 8th. The reason why we're doing the fundraiser is, as everything else is going on, costs are increasing. Our facility rentals, our baseballs, umpires, field rentals, upgrades in new equipment for the players in here, everything that you can think of is going up, and instead of passing that cost directly on to our consumers, this is a way we felt that is middle ground where we can raise some money and will help the overall cost, as opposed to, again, just raising tuition $500, for example. The kids do get credit towards tuition. Every ticket sold past 7 is $10 goes directly to you guys. You can use it towards tuition, towards uniforms, towards classes in the Edge, or really whatever you guys see fit for it. I know last year we had a handful of men and women with the softball side that knocked off $800,000 of their tuition just by doing the fundraiser alone. So the fundraiser is really designed to help the program overall, but the individuals can greatly benefit from doing a good job with this. The last piece that we will add into the fundraiser is we're going to create a Maine Lightning scholarship program. This will go to a graduating senior that has been in the program for a while, that's going on to play in college. We're going to create a lot more criteria to qualify for this player. But it's going to be something that we want to do annually. Again, more of a give back to the program for, get to help those guys moving on to the next level. As you know, college tuition is not cheap, and every little bit will help.